Hi, my name is Kara Anaya, and I just wanted to step in and give some information that really helped me. Over the past 3 years, I have experienced quite a bit of reality. We'll put it that way. I had what many call an awakening. I call it a remembrance. And I went from stepping into, the best way I can explain it is co-creation mode with all that is, and then spiraling back down again, and realizing that this is what we're doing many, many times, a moment, a second, and how can you stop that from happening? And when you take that, this is very much a liminal realm understanding. So let's take that into the physical, right? Because we live with duality. If we have something that's spiritually happening to us, a God moment, an awakening, there is going to be the counterbalance that balances it. And I went through these extremes again and again. Think of the infinity sign, right? And I went through these extremes again and again, liminal, physical, and I said, look, stop. Both sides are right. Both sides are wrong too. You know, there's good, there's bad if we're going to step into labeling in all of this. You know, one person's trash is another person's treasure. So as I was understanding all of this, I found myself standing in the X, in the center space, where I could see the storm happening around me, but I wasn't being affected by it anymore. Ego wasn't, egging me on, and the echoes or the imposter syndrome of the past was no longer pulling me back or even forward sometimes, right? Both sides. And I was able to stand in the eye of the storm, the center of the storm, and not react, but instead act upon that present moment. And it was an amazing space to be on, to be in here in the present moment. And I know that a lot of people, especially in the spiritual realm, but we'll talk about the physical realm too, right? And I'm just talking about the first two petals of life, duality, okay? The yin and the yang, the black and the white, the physical, the liminal, the masculine, the feminine, okay? That's the only two petals I'm talking about right now. When I step into any of the other petals, I'll explain those too. But what I found was that I was standing on the X spot, and I was being able to act upon what I needed to do next in any situation, good, bad, the ugly, the beautiful. And I just want to share with you how I did it, because everybody's point of view is beautiful and they all work for them. That's the beauty of it, is they found their within. They found their X marks the spot. But now they think, okay, we need to duplicate that. And that's a petal. We need to duplicate that in every other human, but that's not how it works. You are very different than me. You have your own X, and it's not my X. So how did I get to this spot? And how can I share it with others so they can find their own X? Instead of saying, you have to do this program, you have to come to me, I want them to be able to find their own within. And what I found was this is what worked for me. I stepped into dichotomy, where you can have your cake and eat it too. But for me, I was like, if this is true, then the opposite must be true too, because all possibilities exist. And I accepted it all, and I rejected it all at the same time. So I realized that this is kind of what my body's doing anyway. in the physical realm, I'm stepping in and I'm feeling the energies of everybody around me. You ever meet somebody and you just know, my God, that's like a friend from the past. Like, I don't know who you are, but we just clicked. Or you meet somebody else and you're like, not interested. That is your body doing millions of these spirals that I spoke of before, calculating the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, and coming to a center point, a judgment point. Okay? So we've got these gurus that are saying, do not judge. But there's the counterpoint to that. There's the opposite. Judge everything. And then choose from that in-between space. Right? Choose what you know is best. Because oftentimes when we just, our gut reactions show us the things that we need to do, that's when we get out of the way. Our thoughts and our emotions are no longer at play. They get right the heck out of the way. And you're able to focus right in on what you need to do in the moment. And it usually happens when there's something gigantic happening to you. But that X marks the spot is something that you can do even when the world is crumbling around you. And once you start to understand who you truly are from within, then you start to recognize when another person's story is pulling you in. We're each our own universe. We have our own belief systems. And when you get balanced within, you recognize you can accept them all and reject them all too, because you see it all. You recognize the patterns, that everything must be counterbalanced. So I wanted to just share how I came to the point that I stand in the eye of the storm. And let me tell you right now, it's hard. It's hard for me in many, many ways. I'm separated from my husband and from a family that I loved with all of my heart. And it seems to me in this present moment that separation is complete. There's no going back to that. So here I am, a 51-year-old woman who has pretty much just raised children her whole life. And I have a lot of education in my belt from going to school in between raising all 7 of my children. Well, they're not all 7 raised yet, but helping to raise all 7 of my children, I accumulated a lot of college credits, but I don't have a degree at all. And I just got, I was very, very grateful that I just got a position at Hayes Market part-time so that I can start supporting myself. I have no retirement to speak of. And I'm now living with my mom again. So there are truly heavy things happening within my life. And yet I get to choose in each moment what feeling I want to step into. Me, as Kara Anaya, I get to make the choices. Not the circumstances, not the people around me. Me. And sometimes I want to cry. I just want to cry. I want to let it out. I want the tears just to fall. I want to be able to feel the sorrow of it all. And sometimes I just want to laugh. I just want to be playful and be that kid again within, you know? And I think that having those options has been the thing that I've been the most grateful about. But I'll tell you, just not having all of those future projections, all of those worries in my mind, you know, that in the future this may happen. Or what did I do in the past, you know, or what's going on back here. I can step into some of those. I can step into the thought processes and follow them down the track, but I don't have to anymore. I stay in the present moment. I stay on that X, and I step into the next petals. The next 2 petals are dichotomy, where I can have my cake and eat it too, Well, you have no cake and never even knew, right? That's the inversion of having your cake and eating it too. That there's never a cake and you never even knew. So it's like when you step into all possibilities in the universe and you step into knowing that it can all be beautiful and wonderful, a dream come true or a curse, but that you get to choose in that present moment, then what do? You know, by looking at everything that's happened to me, I should be a mess, barely being able to even, speak, let alone step in here and say, I am still very balanced within me. And this is how I got there. Now, I recognize that that's only my way. You each have your within to do. I'm just saying, try not to choose anymore. Yes, choose it. Be aware of it. Choose it all. And then know which one feels best to you. Or maybe you don't have to choose it all because you've seen a best friend go through this and you've seen somebody else do that and you've watched a show that's shown you that and you can, get a few out of the way and get into the real choices. It's not always flowers and sunshine and rainbows every day. But what it is recognizing that what's happening to me are all choices that I've made and all choices that every other human around me chose to make too. And there's no going back in this present moment to change that. And then going, okay, so what future do I choose? And at the end of the day, you have to be able to say that you choose yourself, because everyone else can go away. In many ways, I'm living proof of that. And then you go, okay, am I okay with who I am? Can I go in and look myself in the eye today and say, I did the best that I could do with the tools that I had? And the answer is every choice that you want it to be. No, I didn't. I should have chosen that instead. Well, fuck. Okay, next time we know. Because there's going to be a next time. Because you're still here. And you're a miracle. And everything that you choose to do, it's beautiful. I do a lot of sharing of the things that I've been through in the past 3 years. And if you want to see more, just follow me. But I'm not here to tell you that I have the answers for you. But what I'm here to say is that I know that you have the answers within you. And that somewhere, if it's not here in the present moment, then somewhere you're already figuring it out. And that being, that aspect of you is part of you. So you can just sink into it. You can allow it to come and flow through you. And that's how you start making choices on a level that we've never even dreamt about. That's when time can shift and change. That's when things really start to move and flow. At first, you're part of the dichotomy aspect and you're just riding the river and seeing where it goes. But then you step into the duplicity and recognize that many different versions of you are playing out. And we're like puppeteers on strings, but we're the puppets. We're not the puppeteers quite yet, but we can see the strings that are attached to us. And that's a liminal point of view. But if you step into the physical realm, that would be quantum entanglement. Remember how I talked about duality and the different petals and that everything has its opposite? Well, standing in that X helps you to see all that is happening down here. And then you step into, through duplicity, you step into divinity. and there's still that same pull. Everything that happens in one petal reverberates through them all. So you're still dealing with the pull in divinity too, right? And you can see it within how they verse things, the good, the bad, the evil, the I don't know what's the opposite of evil, holy. But it's like you see it all, and then you recognize, oh my goodness, I have that within me. I have that within me. Because I'm able to see it. And if I can see it, then I'm feeling the frequency and I have it within me. So I hope that explains in some ways how I stand on the X. Because I accept it all, I reject it all, I judge, I don't judge. And then I find that balance within myself. It's not about being perfect in every moment of every second of every day, but it's recognizing that you have that perfection within you in every moment of every second of every day, and allowing that perfection to just play. Let it play. Let it find its voice within you in the present moment. And you might be surprised. You might be having a date with yourself, watching a new series called My Lunch Break, and going, oh my God, Tartaria, I knew it. And you're so grateful for that moment. Or you might be bawling your eyes out in a pillow and feeling the loss of love that you really do miss. But then recognizing that that person, they never came up to you and gave you love. You allowed the love to flow through you because of that person. So in your mind, you can still have that love with that person even if they're never there again. Because you were the one that was giving it to yourself from within. That's why when I think about my exes and I'm going to cry. Because there is a loneliness inside of me right now. And a missing. And I trust my body to give me the emotions that I need in the present moment. So when they come over me like this, it's not an overwhelming. They knocked on the door and I said, of course you can enter. I trust you. It's a recognizing that you are where you're at. And you get to have the emotions that you need to feel in the present moment to get to that future version of yourself that already knows what you've been through and is your biggest cheerleader in the world. And is the one that's helping guide you through this. I could look back at what happened to me and think, God, my husband was a narcissist. But in reality, he was just taking care of himself. And isn't that what a narcissist kind of does? Let's look at the reverse of that. Somebody who says, I've got to take care of my own self-health or my own world, my own realm. And you are harming me right now. And I've had enough. And looking at that version, it hurts me to see it from his point of view. Because for me, that's not the reality that I lived in at all. But that's his reality. And if I'm not willing to see it, then I'm not willing to really understand who he is and where he's coming from. And everything comes from within me, my understandings. So I very clearly step through all of these emotions, all of these things, but it happens so quickly. It happens so quickly that I almost detach from it and let it do its magic, almost like it's a symphony. And I'm watching it play out, and I'm watching, the high notes and the low notes, being played in front of me. And I can step into it and feel it like I just did before when it needs to be felt by me. But it's not something that I have to stay in and have it like ruin my day or even my hour, because I can step back into myself, because I know my own power. I know who I am. And when I step back into myself, I can run through those emotions like I just did, that sadness, that loneliness, and then the understanding where he's coming from, and the recognizing that I see it a different way. And then realizing that we weren't matching and pairing. And it'd been that way for a very long time. See, a lot of times people say that, like for me, if I could wish for anybody to have is the ability to comprehend what the other person is saying, not just communication, right? Because I can communicate all day, but if you don't understand what I'm saying, then it didn't matter what I just said. It doesn't matter what I say. And that's the incompatibility that I had with my husband, is I would say one thing and he would hear it a totally different way, and vice versa, by the way. We would not line up in our comprehension of communication. And it had been that way for a very long time. So us separating is actually a very good thing. But try to tell my heart of mine, my heart of mine is saying that's not a good thing. And the beautiful thing from this is there's many possibilities that exist. There's a possibility of me and him figuring out how to, comprehend each other's, communication skills, understanding each other. And there's every other possibility in the world. I'm not going to focus in on one, because when you focus in on one, what happens is all of the possibilities narrow down into that one thing. And you make it so rigid because we as co-creators don't know how to, in our mind, open up the doors and the possibilities for it to flow through. When you say, okay, this is the only way it's going to be, then you close and collapse. Like in quantum physics, you take all of the particles that have the possibilities of doing anything and you collapse them down into one thing. And somebody would say, I hear the opposite of me inside saying, oh no, that's a good thing. That's what you want. That's how co-creation exists. Because then you make that the reality here. But you have to realize that that's only in your universe. And that there's other universes at play. And their belief systems here are here to work too. When you put it into more like a wish, and say, this is something that would make me happy, universe. This is something that would bring unity to me. And you can see that possible future. And you can live it and breathe it in the present moment. And then you can step back and go, okay, what do I need to do here to make that exist? Then that's something that will quite honestly appear for you. But most people can't live in that possibility and then step back and go, what is it that I need to do now? Let me share this in a way that might be easier for you to understand. I am learning to find the fun within me. What would I do for free? What would I do for free? What have I done in my life that I have done for free forever? You know? And it's honestly acts of service of some kind. That's who I am. My love language is words of affirmation, but acts of service is truly where I live and dwell. Like right now, I just got a whole bunch of material to make my rubber duckies again. And since it's Easter time, I got these little rubber duckies with the cutest little hats that go on top of them that are like bunny ears. I didn't realize that they're made out of cloth and they're really cool. So I cannot wait to create that. And then what I do is I'm gonna write Hayes Market on their little bums and then do a beautiful flower. And then I number each one and I make it this special occasion, for the kids to come in and get these treats. Or even the adults. I am not ageist. I don't care how old you are. If you come in and you want one, you can have one. Because I love to bring that happiness and joy within someone. It's taken me 51 years to figure that out about myself, that I am Santa Claus or Mrs. Claus. That's what I love to do. I love to give people gifts. And so it's not always physical. Sometimes it's a lending ear. Sometimes it's emotional support. It can be anything. That's what I love to do. That's what I love to give. And there's never a price tag on that. And I thought, okay, well, that's great, but you're going to go broke if you keep doing that. Like, you got to be able to find a way to do something that you love and get paid for it. And I realized, you know what I want to do more than anything in the world? Is I want to learn how to make stuffed animals. And I want to make them sensory stuffed animals. But also, more than that, I want to put puppets in the back. So you have these little buttons that you open up that you can put your hands in, and their little arms, little stuffed animal arms. You put your thumb and your little pinky finger in, and then their head, you put your other 3 fingers in. And in each little section that you put a finger in, I want it to feel differently. And I have a lot of other really cool designs that I want it to do with this, and I'm not going to tell you yet because they are coming, my friend. But it's like that brings me happiness, like pure joy, happiness that I can't even begin to explain to you. And it's like, okay, would I do that for free every single day of the week? Yes, I would do that for free. So if I can create these amazing one-piece, original stuffed animals, I can charge money for that. And I can make a profit. And I can sustain myself. Another thing I love doing, obviously, is getting on here and sharing with you. So I can share how I made these, all of them. I always take videos of everything I make. Because I feel like if you want to do it and it brings you passion too, and you're going to go out and you're going to get the material, you're going to take my blueprint and you're going to create something, have it for free. Have it for free. Go do it, please. But on the same hand, there's a part of me going, I hope you remember, where you got it from, and you do a call out to me and say, hey, thank you, Kara Naya. Thank you for showing me that. Because that's what I do, but you do you, boo. Maybe you don't, and that's okay. I have a lot of people that would say, don't even tell them your plan, because if they take it, I'm like, no, I'm all about free sharing, opening up all doors, keeping it flowing. And I know that this kind of went off track, so I'm going to bring it back to being in the X. Because, again, I chose to allow myself to share with you and to share with myself, mostly, the happy point of view that I'm living within in all of this tragedy, right? I step within myself and I recognize that every moment of every second of every day, I have the choice of how I'm going to feel and what I'm going to do. And since January 23rd, I believe it was, that's when I landed back here in Colorado, and I've been on my own, though with a lot of help from a lot of friends and family, and many of you too. I found that since January 23rd, up until a few weeks ago, I did a lot of sorrow and crying and finding my voice again in who I was. Meeting new friends, losing new friends, who would have known? But also recognizing that this is home. This is home. Me, myself, and I. I am home within myself. And if I can help anyone else find that homeness within you, because you're the one that has to do it. But I know you can, even in the present moment. Just remember that all possibilities are true, and you are the one that are giving yourself all of those emotions all the time. And then feel the emotion, allow it to pass through, and then go, okay, is that something I want to continue feeling? Sometimes you do, and it sucks. And you continue to feel it for a hot minute. But I promise you, you'll get to the point that you're on your knees and you say to yourself, you say to the universe, you say to whoever you need to say it to, I've had enough. And you surrender that emotion over. But you hold it tight. It's the balance, it's always there. But as you step into that realizing of it, you're going to find that X within yourself. It's there. If I've been able to find it, crazy Kara here has been able to find it. You can find it too. And then what happens is you step into a whole new mindset of figuring out what to do. You go up and down that spiral a few times. You go, okay, where's the new? And the new is just finding more of yourself. Finding what makes you happy is way harder than you might think. Really, take 5 seconds, 10 seconds, take a friggin' week. Close your eyes and say, what truly makes me happy? And if it's a person or a thing, then follow that string back within you to figure out why it makes you happy, right? Why do making these dolls and these toys make me happy? Well, I can step into lots of different possibilities. One, because I like to feel different sensory things. I like to feel different sensory things, and I like to change things up. I don't want to tell you too much about my dolls, but let's just say they come with some really cool things that you can do with them, okay? And I like to be able to have a story that I can share with somebody else. And when you're carrying one of these dolls, yes, I carry dolls on me sometimes, or I guess I should call them stuffed animals because they're really going to be stuffed animals. But when you carry these stuffed animals around with you, people say something to you. I mean, it's a visual cue to say, hey, I saw a little dog the other day that a girl that was carrying around. I called it a woof, okay? And she frowned upon that and she said, this is a dog. But it opens up conversations. And what I like more than anything is people. I like people. I like hearing about where they've been and where they're going. People are some of the most amazing things in the world to me. So that's my happiness. That's my on the hill I want to die for-ness is all of you. I think you're all amazing. And I want to bring some of my happiness into it. And each one of these stuffed animals that I make, I'm imbuing so much love in a balanced X'd form. It's insane. It's what I do. I pick up stuffed animals, I wear them around, I love them, and then I pass them out to people when they shine at me because it makes me happy. And isn't it great to be in a space that you can do those things and you can find little things to do, just little things to do. So I don't know. I wanted to just share my journey and how I stand in the X in the center of the storm because there's so much crap going on right now. And if you need to get involved and step into some of the emotions, do it. But then let them flow through you. Don't stay there. It's when we stay there that we bring all of the lower vibrations, the lower frequencies into our realm. Don't stay there. Recognize they're there. Thank them for being there. And then step back into your X, into your centeredness. Go within you. Each one of us is our own universe. And it's been an amazing journey being here with each one of you. And if you're ever in Johnstown, Colorado, come down to Hayes Market. I will shamelessly do plugs. Come down to Hayes Market and see me there. I'm not hiding. I always want to be, like an open book, because I think life is too short. And if there's a frequency or a vibe here and you're like, I gotta meet this girl, reach out to me in Messenger. I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say hello, or just speak down here, because I know in some of these places that I post it, you're not supposed to say anything else. So they may even reject some of this video. But I just want you to know that you each are frigging amazing, and you're beautiful, and you're wonderful. And in this quantum entanglement that we've had, I know that I've flown through all of your frequencies, and I love all of you so much, because I've had so many of you come to me and help me out in this journey. So thank you.